Insights from Dr. Nicole LePera's How to Do the Work, brought to you by InstaRead. Have you ever felt as though you were going through life stuck on autopilot, making the same poor decisions resulting in the same negative outcomes? In How to Do the Work 2021, psychologist Dr. Nicole LePera explains why people engage in these cyclical behaviors and offers a guide on how to break this routine. The key is understanding our true, authentic self. We create our identities through our experiences, and the result is often an unflattering, self-destructive image that we continually reaffirm despite opposing evidence. This typically begins in childhood from parents with their own emotional shortcomings and affects our relationships as adults. We're not the problem, but the solution. We must look deep inside ourselves to rediscover our inner child and embrace it. We will find ourselves with more positive relationships and a more joyful and spontaneous view of life. Insight number 1. Disassociation is a coping mechanism in response to overwhelming stress by disconnecting physically and mentally from our environments. This is extremely common for those who have experienced childhood trauma. Trauma is the result of a life-altering and deeply catastrophic event, such as extreme abuse and neglect. Tests for adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, help medical professionals better assess their clients by asking them if they've ever experienced physical, verbal, or sexual abuse. Children who experience trauma often have parents who were traumatized by their parents as well, because children are often conditioned to mimic the behavior of their caretakers. This creates cycles of abuse and neglect. Number 2. Attachment theory states that our relationships with our primary parent figures set the basis for what our relationships will be like in our adult lives. In the first 18 months of life, there are 4 types of attachment styles: secure, anxious resistant, avoidant, and disorganized disoriented. A secure attachment is where a child becomes upset when a caretaker leaves, but recovers quickly upon their return. This is a sign of a healthy parent-child relationship. An anxious resistant child will not recover quickly when separated. This attachment style is a result of misattuned parental attention. An avoidant child does not react at all when caretakers come and go, and even tries to avoid them as a result of having a disconnected parent figure. A disorganized, disoriented child shows no pattern in responses to parental care. This results from an unpredictable and disorganized upbringing. Connecting to our inner child means connecting with our most authentic self. This is only possible when we are in a safe environment and we feel absolutely uninhibited to act as we feel. Number 3. The ego is the protector of our inner child and is formed through our communities, childhoods, friends, and family. Ego plays an important role in determining our self-worth. We normally create narratives about who we are based on our experiences, and this is because of our ego. However, our ego can attach itself to negative experiences and base our self-judgment solely on those negative experiences. If we do not become aware of the ego, we risk it taking over our entire life and shaping our emotions and mindsets. To rein in your ego, pay attention to its thought patterns. In a quiet and safe place, have a conversation with it. Let it speak by forming I am sentences. See what you say like, I am smart, or I am insignificant, and understand that this is your ego speaking. When you're able to understand and accept your ego, you will stop thinking and acting reactively, and instead have an empowered consciousness to help you make logical decisions. Number 4. Our dependence on others does not go away as we grow older. Just as we sought a connection with our parents, as adults we seek the same in romantic partners. In fact, childhood attachments provide the basis for most romantic relationships in our adult life. Trauma bonds are relationships that do not allow the expression of your authentic self. These bonds are typically learned and formed as children, and then duplicated in adult relationships. And while trauma bonds can be formed in any relationship, they're most commonly found in romantic ones. For most trauma bonding that takes place in romantic relationships, people are not thinking or acting with their rational minds. Instead, their subconscious attracts them to the familiar, and if traumatic bonds were present during their adolescence, they're likely to inherently be interested in similar relationships. To break from this loop of trauma-bonded relationships, you'll need to revisit your childhood. Think back to your parents or guardians. Try to realize if they engaged in any behaviors that hurt you, and see if that pain may still affect how you view your relationships now. Number 5. Boundaries are clear limits that separate you from others, and these include your thoughts, needs, beliefs, emotions, and physical and emotional spaces. They are vital in developing and maintaining relationships, as well as keeping our overall wellness at satisfactory levels. Boundaries are the foundation for every relationship because they ensure each person feels comfortable enough to express their true self. One barrier to boundaries is the inability to say no. If you always find yourself saying yes, you are not listening to your own wants and needs. There are 3 types of boundaries: physical, resource, and mental emotional. Physical concerns your body and what you are comfortable with. Resource focuses on your time and energy and making sure your personal exchanges are even. Mental emotional deals with how we focus on the mental emotional states around us. Defining boundaries is the first step in using them. Number 6. You need to be able to love yourself if you ever expect to fully connect with others. If your needs were unfulfilled by your parents, you will need to reparent yourself. This involves finally identifying what you need, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and working to fulfill those needs. There are 4 pillars to reparenting: emotional regulation, loving discipline, self-care, and rediscovering a childlike sense of wonder. Emotional regulation means successfully managing emotions in a flexible, tolerable way. Loving discipline is maintaining boundaries for others and fulfilling promises you make to yourself with daily habits and routines. Self-care should not be overindulgent, but simply focus on supporting your needs and valuing your worth. This can involve meditating, journaling, or exploring nature. Rediscovering your childlike sense of wonder involves finally feeling free to be creative and unabashedly yourself, something that might have been discouraged when you were a child. One challenge with re-healing is loneliness. To fully commit to this process, you may need to disconnect from certain friends and family, but ultimately, it will be worth it. We hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit instaread.co to get more insights from this and thousands of other books.